we're joined by ex-cop turned chef and restaurateur, Pitso Chauke. From turning his bulletproof vest into an apron, he's here to tell us all about his culinary journey and how Pitso's kitchen came to be. Welcome back to The Loft.
Thank you, yo. Thank you for the nice intro. Very nice.
I can't think of someone more deserving than Pitso himself, because you've truly, you know when they say started from the bottom, now we're here.
Definitely, yeah.
That's you. I want to take it back, though, to the beginning of your cooking. I believe you moved to Durban. In fact, I think we've got this in common. Pitso's journey in cooking started where my journey in cooking started, which is in Durban.
Yes.
And out of pure necessity, survival.
Yeah, I left school in my high school, and I went to study in Durban. And I stayed with some boys, and, you know, I'd like being from a family of females, I had to fend for myself, and I had to start cooking myself, you know. So it was a little bit difficult in the beginning, but I did try to cook with like tiniana or fish or what, those things like bumapap and rice. But I never really enjoyed cooking at the time until I became like a pro.
A pro. And that's the journey that I actually want to dive into, because I think your journey with cooking is quite similar to a lot of us, especially during the lockdown and the pandemic. A lot of people have needed to kind of wise up when it comes to cooking in the kitchen and being able to try different budget-friendly dishes. Then fast forward to Cape Town. A lot of people don't know this, mind you, South Africa. You actually were a cop, a detective for 10 years, and then you decided to move full on into being a chef and a restaurateur. Now, what made you make that jump, especially coming from Durban, where you were cooking for survival, honey, and then moving into the more, you know, actually, I can do this as a pro?
Yeah, I mean, you just said it very well. Like,
oh.
Yeah, there was a lack of food that I grew up eating in Cape Town. So I stopped investigating the criminals, and I started investigating the cuisine part of Cape Town. You know, like, felt like Cape Town was neglecting the African cuisine side. So I took it up on myself, and I took a leap of faith. And then I started Pitso's Kitchen, like from the boot of the car, by the way.
I can see a very different shift, as you were saying. You know, before you were doing these budget-friendly meals, cooking for your survival with amachita, with the boys,
Yeah.
and now you're doing things on a whole different scale, feeding the nation, essentially. What made that jump in your head? What ignited the passion?
Look, the passion is like the food. The food is something I grew up eating. I mean, I've never mentioned this, but when I came to Cape Town, I continued with chilling with the boys every weekend. So my house became like some kind of a
chill spot
every weekend. So I was like, no, man, guys, I need to start feeding you, charging you for feeding you. So that's how the first idea came about, before I started going to sell in a boot of the car. But that was also because this cuisine was not recognized in Cape Town. And, you know, funny enough, I started seeing articles about, like, there's no African cuisine in Cape Town. I mean, people from Europe come to Cape Town, they still eat food from Europe. So for me, it was like, nah, there is a need here, you know, so I did it professionally from then, but from the boot of the car.
What was it about the food that you grew up enjoying that now gets mirrored on the plates that you make for anyone who visits your restaurant?
You know, that's funny. All my recipes are my mom's recipes at the restaurant. So everything that is there is something that I grew up eating myself. The paintings on the wall reminds me of the paintings that we have in the house as well. So, but however, the kind of food that I grew up eating, you could find it in every corner. So it's not like something that was like, it was not scarce. So the meals were each and every corner. So coming to Cape Town, and I don't have the freedom, and I was like, ish. Not to speak ill about other cuisines that are here, but I was starting to eat a lot of Gatsby's, fish and chips, you know the likes of Cape Town food. One
thing about Cape Town food and they are so proud of their heritage. They're so proud of their culture. So when you do move to Cape Town, you kind of just, you know, like you become like a chameleon, and you just end up doing what they do. You do as the Romans do.
I gelled in as well, but I just missed my home.
Yeah.
You know, I was homesick.
And being homesick is what enabled you then to mirror those exact same recipes that Umama made onto your menu.
Yes.
I love, every single time I go onto his Instagram page, if you were to see our DMs going back and forth, I'm always like, when are you cooking for me? He's like, when are you visiting?
Yeah.
But finally, you're on Afternoon Express, and I want to find out from you, if you were to give advice to restaurateurs or hopeful people, hopeful foodies, people that want to get into the culinary industry. Things haven't always been hot, and you weren't always as busy as you are now.
Yeah.
Now you're at the peak. What advice do you have for people coming up, whether it's the highs or the lows?
COVID taught us a lot of things, especially like the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
So for me, I just said, stay in your lane. Maybe we were so lucky because our cuisine was strictly about serving the locals more than the tourists. So staying in our lane in that department meant we will still serve the people that we made the food for in the first place, But it's never been easy. It might look easy from the outside, but it's difficult because if you don't have the passion, you definitely quit. In the cuisine that we do involves a lot of hard labor, like washing the tripe. It's not an easy thing. Like killing the chicken feet is not an easy step as well. But it's low budget, like you said.
Yeah, low budget, and that's what it's all about. And I'm so glad that you ended off on that point, Chauke, because I missed that, Chauke.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that is what we have you in the loft for. You're going to be giving us tips, tricks, advice on the best way to whip up easy, budget-friendly family meals, but the African way. Yeah. So I'm definitely looking forward to all of that. Funny enough, I think we're ready for our very first recipe. Dumi, hit it, girl.